Morning, all. And before anybody asks, this is matching for this because there's a new set of hats at Lids, which I think is amazing, which is all retro. And right now they have a sale where if you buy it online and you pick it up in the store, it's 30% off. So even though the store locally has these hats, if I want to save more money, I have to order it online and then pick it up from them. But if I go into the store and pick it up, I get my discount for having a membership. Okay. Sorry. Because people ask, well, where'd you get that hat? So there you go. Lids. And let's just go ahead and get things started with Boston and Florida. Boston, 14-8-4. Florida, 10-10-5. The frustrating can't get it going, but they're trying their hardest. Florida Panthers might have some good news tonight. It's a game time decision about Luongo, but he could be good to go tonight. Your leading scorers for Boston: Pasternak, 26 games played, 19 goals, 11 assists. Bergeron, 19 games played, 9 goals, 17 assists. Marchand, 26 games played, 7 goals, 17 assists. Krejci, 26 games played, 2 goals, 17 assists. DeBrusk, 26 games played, 10 goals, 2 assists. Krug has 12 assists in 15 games. Grzelcyk, 24 games played, 1 goal, 7 assists. McAvoy's still on the board despite the fact he's only played 7 games. He's got 1 goal, 5 assists. As I've said before, the fact McAvoy's still on the score sheet for Boston among their top 8, that's part of the reason why they're viewed as top-heavy with scoring. On the Florida side of things, Huberdeau, 25 games played, 6 goals, 22 assists. Dadonov, 25 games played, 12 goals, 14 assists. Hoffman, 25 games played, 12 goals, 12 assists. Yandel, 25 games played, 4 goals, 19 assists. Barkov, 25 games played, 10 goals, 13 assists. Trocheck, 18 games played, 3 goals, 11 assists. Ekblad, 25 games played, 5 goals, 6 assists. And Matheson, 23 games played, 1 goal, 10 assists. Goaltenders, nothing confirmed on the Boston side. Probably Halak, 8-3-2, 2.06 goals against, average 936 save percentage. Rask, 6-5-2, 2.59 goals against, 915 save percentage. On the Florida side, as I said, Luongo will be a game time decision, which means bet on Reimer, but hope for Luongo. Hutchinson's 1-1-2, 4.17 goals against, 839 save percentage. Reimer's 5-6-3, 3.36 goals against, 893 save percentage. Luongo's 4-3 with a 3.07 goals against, 902 save percentage. Over their last 10, Boston's 5-3-2 and they've lost 1. The Florida Panthers are 3-5-2 and they've lost 1. And on the road, Boston's 5-5-4. At home, Florida's 5-4-3. Versus the East, Boston's 10-4-1. Florida is 8-7-4. So again, and I'll throw this in as well. On the Boston side of things, this is a game they absolutely should win. I'll be keeping an eye on Ryan Donato because the depth scoring from a guy like Donato could be the difference between Boston maintaining their position or potentially falling down further than a wild card position. I do worry about them falling out of the playoffs. That's the funny thing is when people say, well, they'll get healthy again. And you can't guarantee that when somebody returns to the lineup, it's just magically going to turn the team around. That's not the way that works. So I worry. And on the Florida side of things, yeah, I don't know what you do to fix this. It's kind of a disaster in Florida when you think about it. It's a team that should be winning and just isn't regularly, consistently, and they should be. All right. Next up, Minnesota, 14-10-2. They're in against the 11-15-3 Vancouver Canucks. Yes, if you're a fan of the Vancouver Canucks, it's been a long, tough, dark time. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. If you're a Canucks fan, you're just hoping that light at the end of the tunnel is not yet another oncoming train. The Minnesota Wild's leading scorer is Michael Granlund. 26 games played, 11 goals, 15 assists. He'll be playing against his brother tonight. Parise, 25 games played, 12 goals, 10 assists. Koivu, 25 games played, 4 goals, 17 assists. Suter, 26 games played, 3 goals, 17 assists. Stahl, 25 games played, 10 goals, 9 assists. Dumba, 26 games played, 10 goals, 8 assists. Zucker, 26 games played, 8 goals, 9 assists. Spurgeon, 26 games played, 3 goals, 11 assists to round out the top 8 scorers for Minnesota. On the Vancouver side of things, Horvat, 29 games played, 12 goals, 13 assists. Pettersson, 23 games played, 13 goals, 9 assists. So he's dropped below a point a game. No harm in that. No shame at all. Goldobin, 29 games played, 4 goals, 12 assists. Besser, 16 games played, 6 goals, 7 assists. If they'd had Besser in those other 13 games. Anyways, Virtanen, 29 games played, 8 goals, 4 assists. Eriksson, 29 games played, 4 goals, 8 assists. Remember, Eriksson had that really nice hot streak in there. If not for that, he wouldn't even be on this board. Marcus Granlund, 29 games played, 5 goals, 6 assists. And Ben Hutton, 27 games played, 4 goals, 6 assists. Goaltenders, nothing confirmed yet. I would think Dubnyk. Stalock's 5-2, 2.45 goals against, 9.13 save percentage. Dubnyk's 9-8-2, 2.72 goals against, 9.09 save percentage. I expect Markstrom to be the starter for Vancouver. Nelson's 3-5 with a 2.77 goals against, 9.05 save percentage. Markstrom 8-9-3, 3.31 goals against, 8.97 save percentage. Over their last 10, Minnesota's 4-6. They've lost their last 3. Vancouver's 1-8-1, and they've lost their last 3. The difference is Minnesota's had some bad puck luck, and they usually are able to defeat the Vancouver Canucks. That's kind of been a staple of theirs. It's been part of the reason why I was not a big fan of the Wild before I had a channel. They were on my list of teams that I was not a fan of at all. On the road, Minnesota 6-6. At home, Vancouver's 5-6-1. Versus the West, Minnesota is 9-2-2. Versus the West, the Vancouver Canucks are 6-9-1. Doesn't really matter who the Canucks play right now. It's a tough slog for them, and it's just that's the way this season was kind of meant to go. And again, and I say this when I do my previews, I think the toughest part for Canuck fans is that we saw a glimpse of how it could be with that hot streak they went on there when they were 10-6-2. And then it all fell apart from there. So that makes it harder because you get a glimpse of just how good this team could be, and then it falls apart. Next up, Ottawa, 12-12-3. They're in against Montreal. Montreal's 12-10-5. Very, very interesting game here between two teams that are respectable and weren't supposed to be. On the Montreal side, it could be playoff respectable, but on the Ottawa side, they may have something to say about it. This could be a huge statement game for Ottawa. If they were to win this game, they have the same amount of points as Montreal and one more win, which should put them in there. So very quietly, the Ottawa Senators could find themselves ahead of Montreal. Who saw that coming? And not seeing them as being the bottom 2 teams in the Atlantic, so it doesn't matter kind of situation. Anyways, your top scorers for Ottawa, 27 games played by Duchesne, 12 goals, 21 assists. 27 games played by Chabot, 7 goals, 24 assists. Stone, 27 games played, 12 goals, 17 assists. Dzingel, 25 games played, 11 goals, 8 assists. Tierney, 27 games played, 3 goals, 16 assists. Bobby Ryan, 27 games played, 6 goals, 12 assists. Tkachuk, 16 games played, 9 goals, 7 assists. So he's still at a point a game. And White, 26 games played, 7 goals, 9 assists. So Tkachuk has got the within 6 points of Pettersson for the lead for rookies this year. On the Montreal side, Domi, 27 games played, 11 goals, 16 assists. Drouin, 27 games played, 9 goals, 13 assists. Tatar, 27 games played, 11 goals, 10 assists. Petrie, 27 games played, 3 goals, 15 assists. Gallagher, 27 games played, 11 goals, 6 assists. Andrew Shaw has played 23 games and 7 goals, 7 assists for him. Lehkonen, 27 games played, 4 goals, 10 assists. And Philippe Danault, 27 games played, 2 goals, 12 assists. Anderson's the only confirmed goaltender tonight. And it's an ongoing joke for me, but I feel bad for Anderson. He doesn't get a night off. They really need to fix that. McKenna will be the backup. He's 1-1 with a 4.66 goals against, 8.79 save percentage. Anderson's 11-9-3 with a 3.62 goals against, 905 save percentage. And those numbers, while they're not great, they'd be a lot worse if it was anybody else in Anderson's position. Other than maybe Rene. Maybe Rene would be able to put up magical numbers. Price is 8-8-4. I would expect him in this situation. 3.05 goals against, 898 save percentage. Niemi 4-2-1. 3.61 goals against, 893 save percentage. Over their last 10, Ottawa's 5-5. They've won 3 in a row. Montreal's 3-5-2. They've lost their last game. So if Ottawa can win this and get its 4th win in a row, yeah, then we're talking about a growing concern in the Atlantic being Ottawa. And they may get an emotional lift over the fact that they did what they did to the San Jose Sharks the other night. That could be huge for the Ottawa Senators. That, when guys leave and they have this attitude of, well, we want to play for a contender, or we don't really think things are going well here. You have the kind of drama that you had in Ottawa at the end of last season. For the guys who are left behind, and for new guys who come in too to join the team, there's a certain amount of pride there. And it's the same as that misfit pride we saw with Vegas last year. So don't ever underestimate that. You can ride that through an 82-game season. On the road, this is where Ottawa's in trouble. They're 3-8-1 at home. Montreal's 7-6-2. The road record of Ottawa is why you might want to take Montreal in this one. Versus the East, Ottawa's 9-7-1 versus the East. Montreal's 7-6-5. So they're good at getting it to overtime and losing it in overtime when they're against Eastern foes. All right, that being said, let us move on to Toronto, who are in against the Buffalo Sabres. So Buffalo coming off of 3 close wins or close losses, and that's rough. It's rough when your team is almost there, and you can see it, and then you go up against teams that are legit contenders, and suddenly it's not there. And so tonight it's another legit contender in the Toronto Maple Leafs in against the Buffalo Sabres. But there are some things working in Buffalo's favor. On the 19-8 Toronto Maple Leafs, their leading scorer is, of course, Mitch Marner. 27 games played, 6 goals, 32 assists, 38 points. He's on pace for over 100 points this year. Tavares, 27 games played, 17 goals, 13 assists. Morgan Riley, 27 games played, 9 goals, 20 assists. Matthews, in his 13 games played this year, 13 goals and 7 assists. And Matthews has looked pretty good since his return, I guess. Not bad. Kapanen, 27 games played, 10 goals, 8 assists. Kadri, 27 games played, 8 goals, 8 assists. Marleau, 27 games played, 6 goals, 9 assists. And Hyman, 27 games played, 6 goals and 8 assists. So that rounds out your top 8 for Toronto. Not even mentioning Nylander yet, are we? Get Nylander into that lineup. I don't know. I'm still not sold on Nylander necessarily being like a point a game or a big superstar player. And I think that's where, and I know Leaf fans get upset when we talk about it, but when you look at contract structures, the money that was given to Nylander kind of looks like superstar money, and he's never been a superstar. Is the potential there? Maybe, but with the Leafs, you have so many good players that he's going to be their 5th or 6th best player. It's a lot of money. Anyway, and he's not even in the lineup yet. As far as I know, I don't think he's making his debut tonight. Could be, I guess. On the Buffalo side, Eichel leads them in scoring through 28 games, 5 goals, 27 assists. Skinner, 28 games, 20 goals, 8 assists. Reinhart, don't count out Sam Reinhart. 28 games played, 7 goals, 15 assists. Pominville, 27 games played, 9 goals, 9 assists. Okposo, 28 games played, 5 goals, 10 assists. Ristolainen, 28 games played, 3 goals, 12 assists. Dahlin, 28 games played, 2 goals, 12 assists. Sherry, 24 games played, 6 goals, 6 assists. On the goaltending side of things, I would expect Ullmark tonight since Hutton played last night for Buffalo. For Toronto, I would expect Anderson. Sparks would be the backup, 4-1, 2.57 goals against, 924 save percentage. Anderson, 15-7, 2.3 goals against, 931 save percentage. Hutton is now 12-8-1, 2.60 goals against, 917 save percentage. Ullmark, 5-0-2, 2.57 goals against, 927 save percentage. Over their last 10, Toronto's 8-2. They've won 4 in a row. The Buffalo Sabres are 7-2-1, and they've lost 3 in a row. On the road, Toronto's 10-3, and at home, Buffalo is 9-2-1. Versus the East, Toronto's 8-5. Versus the East, Buffalo is 9-4-2. So when you look at the records against the East, you could favor Buffalo. You look at home and road record, it's kind of a saw-off. When you look at the record over the last 10, the record seems to favor Toronto. But I think it's going to be close, and I would love to tell people in Buffalo, yeah, no, you'll win this one, but it's a rough part of the schedule for them. Okay, Calgary. The 16-9-2 Calgary Flames are again in against the 15-9-2 Columbus Blue Jackets. And on the surface of it, this looks like it could be one of those games of the night kind of situations. And when you look at the records at home, on the road versus each other's conference, last 10, there's a lot of similarities here. For scoring for the Flames, who are 16-9-2 against the 15-9-2 Columbus Blue Jackets, Gaudreau, 27 games played, 10 goals, 21 assists. Monahan, 27 games played, 15 goals, 14 assists. Matt Tkachuk, 27 games played, 12 goals, 17 assists. Lindholm, 27 games played, 12 goals, 16 assists. Giordano, 27 games played, 3 goals, 21 assists. Backlund, 27 games played, 5 goals, 11 assists. Hanifin, 27 games played, 2 goals, 10 assists. TJ Brody, 27 games played, 2 goals, 9 assists. On the Columbus side of things, I was going to say Carolina because I saw Hanifin and I started thinking about the Carolina side of things, even though Carolina's not playing tonight. Atkinson's the leading scorer for Columbus, 27 games played, 16 goals, 11 assists. Panarin, 25 games played, 7 goals, 20 assists. Dubois, 26 games played, 13 goals, 12 assists. Foligno, 26 games played, 6 goals, 9 assists. Werenski, 26 games played, 4 goals, 11 assists. Anderson, 26 games played, 11 goals, 3 assists. Wenberg, 26 games played, 1 goal, 13 assists. And Boone Jenner, 26 games played, 5 goals, 8 assists. Goaltending, Riddick was the guy, but I'm getting the feeling that Calgary's going to keep playing Smith. It's just the feeling I'm getting because they keep playing Smith. He's now 8-7-1 with a 3.05 goals against, 886 save percentage. Smith's numbers are getting better. Riddick, 8-2-1, 2.21 goals against, 924 save percentage. I expect Bobrovsky in net for Columbus. Korpisalo's 5-1-2, 3.73 goals against, 886 save percentage. Bobrovsky is 10-8 with a 2.72 goals against, 911 save percentage. Both teams are 6-3-1 in their last 10. Calgary's won 2 in a row. Columbus lost their last game. On the road, Calgary's 8-6, and at home, Columbus is 7-4-1. Versus the East, Calgary's 4-3-1 versus the West. Columbus is 6-3-1. So your guess is as good as mine on this game because they look very, very similar. And yet the storylines behind these teams is very, very different. So with Calgary, you've got this good young team. There's a lot of hope for the future. They've got an older goaltender that they're getting going. Everything's going pretty well if Smith can keep this up. And Columbus, of course, you have all this uncertainty. You have the uncertainty around Bobrovsky and around Panarin. And that has to be on the minds of players, management, and stuff. And we'll see if at some point it affects the team on the ice. So far, it hasn't. So far, thankfully, if you're a fan of Columbus, it really hasn't. But the other issue for Columbus is they can't let Washington run away and hide with the division lead. So that's where it's going to get interesting. But now I got to change boards. And next up is Winnipeg in against the New York Islanders. So the 16-8-2 Jets that are starting to look like the Jets again in against the 13-9-3 Islanders, who have been decent over their last 10 games and have their surprising starts, and then they have their disappointing starts as well. They're becoming one of the more unpredictable teams in the league. But anyways, Winnipeg's leading scorers right now, Blake Wheeler having an amazing season, 26 games played, 4 goals, 30 assists. Scheifele, 26 games played, 16 goals, 16 assists. Aline, 26 games played, 21 goals, and 3 assists for him. Connor, 26 games played, 10 goals, 14 assists. Bufflin, 21 games played, 2 goals, and 15 assists. Ehlers, 26 games played, 8 goals, and 8 assists. Little, 26 games played, 5 goals, 10 assists. And Trouba, 26 games played, 2 goals, and 12 assists for him. On the Islanders side of things, Bailey, 25 games played, 7 goals, 15 assists. Barzell, 25 games played, 3 goals, 18 assists. Anders Lee, 25 games played, 9 goals, 11 assists. Nelson, 25 games played, 9 goals, 9 assists. Filppula, 25 games played, 7 goals, 9 assists. Eberle, 25 games played, 6 goals, 7 assists. And he seems to be starting to get the scoring going a little bit, and they need that. Mayfield, 23 games played, 3 goals, 10 assists. Komarov, 25 games played, 3 goals, 8 assists, rounds out the top 8 scorers for the New York Islanders. I expect Hellebuck to be in net tonight, but honestly, I don't understand why they don't start giving Brossoit more starts. I don't. Brossoit seems to be playing better. Hellebuck makes me really nervous. Hellebuck's 11-7-1, 3.07 goals against, 902 save percentage. Brossoit 5-1-1 with a 2.16 goals against, 935 save percentage. On the Islanders side, I expect Greiss. Greiss is the better of the two. Greiss is 9-4-1, 2.42 goals against, 926 save percentage. Leonard's 4-5-2, 2.79 goals against, 913 save percentage. Over their last 10, Winnipeg 6-3-1. They've won 3 in a row, so they're back on a roll. For the Islanders, they're 5-4-1. They won their last game. On the road, Winnipeg 7-5. At home, the Islanders are 7-3-2. Versus the East, Winnipeg is 7-4-1. Versus the West, the Islanders are 3-5. So if you look at versus the conferences, you can say, well, Winnipeg probably wins this, but when you look at the home record, the Islanders are pretty solid at home. So it is not an easy game to predict. Again, it depends on who's in net for me. I would consider Brossoit here because he's been the better goaltender. And Hellebuck, yeah, it makes me very nervous, and you get that feeling there's always going to be that one goal in the game that you go, oh, he probably should have had that one. So we'll see what happens with it. Next up, Arizona, 12-11-2 in against the 10-16-1 LA Kings. LA still needs to win about 7 in a row to make this a run back into a playoff spot. And even then, that would be dicey because you're betting on every other team ahead of them staying about 1 game above 500. On the Arizona side of things, Arizona's trying to get to 2 games above 500, and they have to be looking above them and saying, you know what, we can catch one of those teams that we're behind right now. Keller, 25 games played, 8 goals, 10 assists, leads the Arizona Coyotes in scoring. Followed by Nick Schmaltz, 26 games played, 3 goals, 12 assists. Ekman Larson, 25 games played, 2 goals, 12 assists. Stepan, 25 games played, 6 goals, 6 assists. Hinostroza, 25 games played, 4 goals, 8 assists. Grabner, 25 games played, 6 goals, 5 assists. Richardson, 25 games played, 7 goals, and 3 assists. Galchenyuk, 18 games played, 3 goals, 7 assists. On the LA side of things, Kopitar, 26 games played, 7 goals, 10 assists. Doughty, 27 games played, 2 goals, 13 assists. Brown, in 17 games, he has 8 goals and 6 assists. He is their best offensive player so far this year. Kovalchuk, 25 games played, 5 goals, 9 assists. Carter, 25 games played, 5 goals, 9 assists. We talk about guys in LA that haven't been producing very well. Jeff Carter is totally flying under the radar as a guy that needs to score more goals. Toffoli, 27 games played, 5 goals, 7 assists. Iafallo, 27 games played, 5 goals, 6 assists. And Martinez, 27 games played, 2 goals and 7 assists, means that somebody with 9 points gets into the top 8 scorers for LA. And only Boston have a top 8 scorer that has less points than that. Goaltenders. I expect second star of the week, Aiden Hill, to be in net. He's 3-0-0 with a 0.39 goals against and 984 save percentage. Those are pretty decent numbers through a very small sample size, of course. Kemper, 4-5-2, 2.71 goals against, 914 save percentage. Ronta, 5-6, 2.88 goals against, 906 save percentage. But I guess they could play Pickard tonight, too. On the LA side of things, Peterson, 4-4, 2.41 goals against, 929 save percentage. Quick had a shutout in his last game. He'll play again tonight. 1-4-1 record, 3.49 goals against, 888 save percentage. Campbell 5-7, 2.33 goals against, 923 save percentage. In their last 10, Arizona's 5-4-1. They've won their last 3. The Kings are 5-5, and they won their last game. On the road, Arizona's 6-5-1. At home, the Kings are 6-8-1. They've got to get that home record back to 500 to have any hope of getting back into this. And then they got to work on the road record too. Versus the West, Arizona's 7-6-1 versus the West. The Kings are a woeful 5-10-1. And that's another thing they have to turn around. Basically, anything that involves winning, the LA Kings are having a hard time with right now, and have been for most of the season. And this is where a bad start makes it virtually impossible to catch up. Because you can have a 10-game period where you're 5-5. You're not playing horribly, but because of that really bad start, you're still probably out of it. All right, next up, Colorado, 16-6-5. They're in against the 10-10-5 Pittsburgh Penguins. And for the Colorado Avalanche, things are going pretty darn well. They are knocking on the door of first place in the entire NHL. They're getting closer. And their scoring is on point. Mikko Rantanen, 27 games played, 11 goals, 34 assists for 45 points. Thank you very much. He may get 100 assists this year. McKinnon, 27 games played, 19 goals, 24 assists, 43 points. And Landeskog, 27 games played, 16 goals, 14 assists, 30 points. And kind of the forgotten guy on that line. Barrie, 23 games played, 3 goals, 17 assists. Soderberg, 27 games played, 8 goals, 10 assists. Kerfoot, 27 games played, 4 goals, 14 assists. Girard, 27 games played, 2 goals, 10 assists. And Colin Wilson, he has 26 games played and 7 goals and 3 assists. Evgeny Malkin leads the Penguins in scoring, but he hasn't been scoring as much lately as he was early in the year. 25 games played, 9 goals, 21 assists. Crosby, 22 games played, 14 goals, 15 assists. Kessel, 25 games played, 10 goals, 18 assists. Gensel, 25 games played, 11 goals, 10 assists. Letang, 24 games played, 5 goals, 15 assists. Hornqvist, 22 games played, 9 goals, 6 assists. Simone, 25 games played, 4 goals, 9 assists. And Alexiak, 23 games played, 4 goals, 6 assists. I expect Varlamov in net for the Colorado Avalanche. Grubauer 6-1-2 with a 3.06 goals against, 904 save percentage. Varlamov 10-5-3 with a 2.23 goals against, 930 save percentage. I would expect DeSmith for Pittsburgh, but it'll be interesting because Jari could take the start here. Jari's 0-1-1 with a 3.5 goals against, 887 save percentage. Murray's 4-5-1, 4.08 goals against, 877 save percentage. DeSmith is 6-4-3 with a 2.45 goals against, 922 save percentage. And you get the feeling Pittsburgh, if this keeps up, might end up going out and getting themselves another goaltender. You really do. I don't know who you get, but that's just a feeling I've got with them. I can't see them frittering away a whole season like this. In their last 10, Colorado was an impressive 8-0-2. They won their last game over Detroit, a game which had no conflict whatsoever. I'm kidding. And Pittsburgh's 3-5-2 in their last 10, and they lost their last 2. On the road, Colorado is a commanding 10-4-2, and at home, Pittsburgh is 5-6-2. Versus the East, Colorado is an intimidating 9-2-2, and Pittsburgh is a very impressive 7-1-1 against the West. So Pittsburgh would love to play in the West, and Colorado would love to play pretty much anywhere right now. They're playing pretty well no matter who they're against, which is very, very impressive. I'm leaning towards Pittsburgh in this one, just because Colorado hasn't lost in regulation in so very long that they're kind of due for one. All right, next up, Tampa Bay. The Lightning are a very, very impressive team. Might be the most impressive team in the league. Until I see them against Toronto a couple of times, I reserve that judgment. But between Tampa, Toronto, and Nashville, when they're healthy, they'd be probably the most impressive. I don't know that Nashville has the explosive scoring potential of Tampa and Toronto, though. That's what makes Tampa and Toronto as impressive as they are. Tampa's leading scorer is Nikita Kucherov, 28 games played, 12 goals, 20 assists. Oh, that's right. He's 3 points away from being the league leader. Yep, he's 3 points behind Rantanen. When did that happen? Exactly. Point, 28 games played, 20 goals, 17 assists for him. Stamkos, 28 games played, 9 goals, 16 assists. Gourde, 28 games played, 10 goals, 12 assists. McDonough, 28 games played, 2 goals, 18 assists. Miller, 28 games played, 5 goals, 14 assists. Johnson, 28 games played, 11 goals and 8 assists for him. Killorn, 28 games played, 5 goals, 9 assists. And Hedman, who's technically number 9 on their board. For scorers, 21 games played, 4 goals, 10 assists. And this guy right here, Victor Hedman, is the reason why when people talk about McDonough and possible Norris, 2 guys on the same team that are Norris level, one gets the votes, one doesn't. And Victor Hedman is coming on pretty strong right now. So Hedman's going to get a lot of votes. On the Detroit side of things, Dylan Larkin, 27 games played, 10 goals, 12 assists. Nyquist, 27 games played, 4 goals, 17 assists. Athanasiou, 23 games played, 11 goals, 5 assists. Bertuzzi, 27 games played, 9 goals, 7 assists. Nielsen, 23 games played, 1 goal, 14 assists. Anthony Mantha, 27 games played, 9 goals, 5 assists. Green, 18 games played, 2 goals, 12 assists. So Mike Green's quietly having a very solid season. Cholowski, 25 games played, 4 goals and 8 assists to round out the top 8 for Detroit. Domingue will be the starter until Vasilevsky comes back or his legs fall off, whichever thing happens first. That's just the case. Vasilevsky's still 9-3-1, 2.29 goals against, 927 save percentage. Louis Domingue is now 11-4, 3.14 goals against, and an 899 save percentage. On the Detroit side of things, it looks like Howard's going to be the starter. It's likely 9-6-3 record, 2.66 goals against, 923 save percentage. Bernier is 3-6 with a 3.35 goals against and an 898 save percentage. Over their last 10, Tampa's 8-2 with wins in their last 3. Detroit is 5-4-1. They lost their last game. On the road, Tampa's an impressive 9-3, and at home, Detroit is kind of mediocre, 7-6-3 now, or 7-6-2. Detroit really needs to assert themselves at home and put together another winning streak, and no better place to do it than against a Tampa Bay team that looks so dominant. Detroit's played well, but they're flirting with falling back down the standings before they've made it into a playoff spot. Versus the East, Tampa's now an impressive 15-2. 15 wins and 2 losses. Soon as the whistle blows against an Eastern foe, it's basically already over. Versus the East, Detroit is a less impressive 8-2. And they've got to get that straightened out if they're going to end up getting themselves into a playoff spot. And, last but not least, let us get to the Capitals and Vegas. That's right. Your Stanley Cup rematch. And both teams have kind of gone in different directions this year. Washington's 15-8-3, and Vegas is 14-13-1. But it's in Vegas, which favors Vegas in a regular season setting. I'm aware of what happened in the playoffs last year, but playoffs and regular season are 2 completely different beasts. And tonight, the Capitals are led by Backstrom. Backstrom in 26 games played has 10 goals, 13 assists. Ovechkin in 26 games played has 19 goals, 13 assists. And now I've started hearing other sports guys saying, wow, that Ovechkin's got 19 goals in 26 games. When's he going to slow down? Yeah, I've been saying that all year. He is on pace for about 60 goals. Carlson, 25 games played, 5 goals, 24 assists. Kuznetsov, 20 games played, 7 goals, 17 assists. Oshie, 18 games played, 9 goals, 5 assists. There's Tom Wilson. Told you he was going to charge up the charts. 10 games played, 8 goals, and 6 assists. Jacob Vrana, 26 games played, 6 goals, 8 assists. And Brett Connolly, 26 games played, 4 goals, and 10 assists. On the Vegas side of things, Marchessault, 28 games played, 10 goals, 11 assists. William Karlsson, 28 games played, 9 goals, 12 assists. Alex Tuck, in his 20 games played, has 8 goals and 12 assists. Eakin, 25 games played, 10 goals, 7 assists. Smith, 28 games played, 4 goals, 13 assists. Pacioretty, 24 games played, 10 goals, 5 assists. Theodore, 28 games played, 4 goals, 11 assists. And Miller, 28 games played, 2 goals, and 10 assists. And it has made a difference for Vegas having Schmidt back. But I think the biggest thing for them is keep Pacioretty going. If they're going to win this game, they need a big game from the Pacioretty line. They need a big game from Alex Tuck. They need these guys to really produce. Goaltenders, I expect the big names in this one. I expect Copley to be the backup, 5-2-1. 3.06 goals against, 899 save percentage. Holtby, 10-6-2, 2.94 goals against, 910 save percentage. His save percentage dropped from 917 to 910 with 1 poor game. On the Vegas side of things, Subban 0-4, 4.02 goals against, 859 save percentage. Fleury should be the starter, 14-9-1, 2.38 goals against, 913 save percentage. Over their last 10, the Capitals are 8-2. They lost their last game. Vegas is 7-3. They lost their last game. On the road, the Capitals are an impressive 7-4-1. They're not bad. And Vegas at home, not bad either, 7-3-1. Versus the West, the Capitals are 7-4-1. Vegas has struggled with the East. They're 5-8 against the East. So your guess is as good as mine on this one. Stanley Cup rematches are always tricky because that first year there's usually a lot of emotion in it, and it's a very competitive game. We may very well see Tom Wilson being Tom Wilson tonight, and there's people who don't like it when he's himself and he's out there being rambunctious. But I like Vegas in this game because they're at home, and it's nothing against Washington on this. It's just Vegas, to me, it feels like there's some upward momentum there, even though they lost their last game. They are 7-3 in their last 10, and they're starting to look like the Vegas Golden Knights of last year. They've started getting that energy back. They've started playing better, and Washington fans may very well see that tonight. But it's going to be a great game either way. So there you go. You're all caught up on all 10 games that are taking place tonight. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, just tapping upon this video. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I just got up before I started this video, so that's why the sniffling and stuff. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.